All right, welcome to our last video for today. This video on 3.3, proving lines are parallel. Again, I don't know what's wrong with these word flexors, so let's just cross that off. I'm not gonna waste some time trying to figure this out. If anyone can figure it out, please let me know. I don't know what's going on. I play Wordle, that's a little different. Actually, I haven't done Wordle today, but I'll do it when I finish this video. Probably sitting poolside by our little motel we're staying for the day before we fly back out. Anyway, find the value of x. So again, this means parallel, right? And x plus 20 and 52 are corresponding angles. That's why I think it's so important to recognize that. And I know they're corresponding because they're both, one's inside, one's outside, but they both form same angle with the transversal. So if I call this line L and line M and line T, the angle between L and T is the same between T and M. So what that happens when L and M are parallel. So 52 equals x plus 20. Of course, x is just 32. All right. Now converse. Converse term is when you say the opposite. Between the conditional or the hypothesis and the conclusion. So what we were saying earlier, if we go back to 3.2 really quickly here, I didn't really say this as theorems, but what we were saying is that if two lines are parallel, then the corresponding angles are congruent. This is what we were saying. This is what we were saying in 3.2. If I do the converse, if two corresponding angles are congruent, then the two lines are parallel. That's when you just reverse the statements. You don't negate. And it so happens that the converse will be true as well. Not all the time for most logical statements, but in this case, yes. And we said earlier that if two lines are parallel, the alternate interior angles are congruent. If two lines are parallel, alternate exterior angles are congruent. Or two lines are parallel, consecutive interior angles add to 180. You can reverse all those statements to get the converse, and that's what 3.3 is all about. So if two lines, will cut by transversal, obviously, have congruent correspondence and lines are parallel. So in this case, you want to make these parallel, so you better make 3x plus 5 equal to 65. Or in this case, these are alternate exterior. You better make 5y plus 6 equal to 121. And you solve each case. 3x equals 60, x equals 20. Or here, 5y equals 115, y equals 23. There we go. So that would force M and N to be parallel because I'm making the angles the same. Or, following the rules for whatever classification they are, like corresponding or alternate exterior. Now, is there enough information to include that M and N are parallel? Well, let's find out. That's 105. That right there is 75. That's just using vertical angles. 105 and 75 are consecutive interior angles. Also, they add to 180. So guess what? Yes, we can make that conclusion. Absolutely can. And remember I said there's converses for the other types of angles like consecutive interior, alternate interior, and so forth. So 3, 5, if 3, 5 are self-interior, it means add the 180. And they happen to be consecutive interior angles, then the lines are parallel. alternate interior. If 4 and 5 are alternate interior angles, and they happen to be the same, then the lines are parallel. So if angle 4 equals angle 5, and they're alternate interior angles, then lines are parallel. And again, if angle 3 plus angle 5 adds up to 180, and they happen to be on the same side of the interior, that's also going to be parallel. So you're just going the opposite way. And same thing with alternate exterior. You can use that too. If 1 and 8 are the same, they're congruent, and they're both on the outside and they alternate, you can say these lines are parallel as well. So now we're going to do some quick proofs here. Are these lines parallel? Explain. Yes. Alternate exterior angles. Yes, this one. Corresponding angles. And by the way, when you do this symbol here, another thing I should mention. When you do your markings, if you put like one marking, that means that they're the same. If I have something like this here, that means it would not be the same. Those are two different angles. So when you see the same markings, like you see just like one arc for each of these, that means there's going to be congruent or equal. So A, B are corresponding angles. Those are equal. For part A here, A and B, these here are, sorry, A, B are the lines. But these lines here are alternate exterior, those are the same. Now these have to 180. I don't know if they're going to be, I mean, if they're both 90, they could be. So this is a maybe. If angle 1 equals angle 2 equals 90 degrees, then yeah, of course. Because then those are both perpendicular to the same line. Sure, why not? But that may not always be the case. If 1 and 2 add to 180 and they're alternate interior, I mean, what if I had this? So that's like 130 degrees. Now we're 50 degrees. It's pretty clear now A and B are not going to be parallel to each other. They're going to touch. So that's no. Okay, so take some time to simmer over that. Let's talk about transitive property of parallel lines. The transitive property of parallel lines just states that if P and Q are parallel and Q and R are parallel, and obviously they're going to be coplanar anyway, then P and R are parallel. Just like we said with, P equals Q, Q equals R, then P equals R, right? Same thing. So there you go with that one. And then here we have the US flag. Perfect. We got 4th of July coming up pretty soon. Actually, geez, 10 days. Nuts. Just felt like summer started. Anyway, the flag of the United States has 13 alternating red and white stripes. Each stripe is parallel to the stripe below it. Heading to the top is parallel to the bottom stripe. That's just transitive property. You do the transitive property several times. And I'm not going to rhyme all out, but we know that like stripe 1 is parallel to stripe 2. Stripe 2 is parallel to stripe 3, and so forth until we get to the last stripe. Stripe 12 is parallel to stripe 13. But ultimately, the first stripe will be parallel to the 13th stripe, and there you go. Okay, so that concludes this video on 3.3.